Mmm. Hey guys, it's been way too long since we filmed our last mukbang. The last time I made a mukbang video was when I was in Bali. Oh, there's a story about that. But first and foremost, I am hungry and I know you guys are curious about what we're eating today. So let's get to it. We're trying out Vietnamese street food. I picked this up nearby my hotel. I just walked down the street and picked up whatever looked interesting and delicious. I'm currently in Danang. It's between Saigon, you know, Ho Chi Minh, and Hanoi. And I made these little cards. I wrote down what all these foods we're trying out today. Now, the Bánh Xèo, this is a sizzling pancake. I've had that one before. What strikes my fancy is this. This is bolalot, beef in lolot leaves. Now what we do, the street food vendor told me, we take one of these guys and then we wrap it around balalot. This morning, my hotel in Hoi An, it flooded. The first floor, the whole dining area, water came in to the staircase. So we had to take a boat. A boat picked us up. We rode through blocks and blocks of streets. And then a taxi driver was waiting for us many blocks away. And then from there, we drove here to Danang. So that was this morning. All right, let me give you a close look at the lalot leaves. I'm filming on my hotel bed and I'm so scared to spill, so I put everything on a towel. Now, what we do next, and I'm sitting on the wooden floor, it's not very comfortable. I'm squatting. Okay, if I remember this correctly, we put other ingredients in here. This is papaya. We have cucumber. We have some, what else is there? Some herbs, lettuce. And let's do this. And then we roll it up. This is the sauce. We put this, I don't have a bowl. So I don't want to, oops, my face. So we're gonna have to do this like a ninja. Push these ingredients to the side. The sauce over here. This sauce, we also need to mix it with the noodles here. And this seems to be pork. Let's try the pork as is by itself. Mmm. It's like 40% sweet. Anyone who eats this piece of meat gonna agree it's dry. However, it's dry, but it does fall apart. The flavor reminds me of a cereal I used to eat. Which cereal is it? This is my 4th month of traveling already. I tried Thai street food, Indonesian street food, all kinds of street food. And I find that Thai street food in general tends to be sweet and spicy. The Indonesian street food can be sweet, but I find it more spicy than sweet. And then the Vietnamese street food, I found it to be more bland compared to Thai and Indonesian street food. However, because it's not as flavorful, it feels much more healthier and my stomach has been responding better to it. Because by the time I exited Indonesia, I started getting stomach aches because I think I just was eating too much of a delicious food constantly. So wish me luck that I don't spill. I hope there's no holes in this tray. Oh, it smells peanutty. Right, now let's fold the end of this so we can dip our roll. The way I like to describe Vietnamese food is it's like a Monet painting because the flavors are not overly strong. When you have a bite of this, it's not like you get colors of like bright orange or like passionate red. Those are the colors that pop in my mind when I eat Thai food, Thai street food. The Vietnamese food, it's much more, it's not super delicate, but in comparison to Thai street food, it feels a little more delicate. Actually, I find Vietnamese food to be so pleasant. So, you know, these sticks, they actually split chopsticks in half and then slip in the meat. And then they cook it. That's cool. That's cool. Right, as you can see, there's some meat, rice noodle, cucumber, carrots. Mmm. 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 When I had that piece of meat by itself, it was pretty sweet, but having with the noodles, it kind of you know, calms it down a bit, so it's not too sweet. So the beef by itself is pretty good, but it tastes even better when you mix it with the sauce and you mix it with the noodles. Mmm. Actually, when you mix all the ingredients together like this, it makes it taste more mature. Mmm. So the lady at the stall told me you take one of these guys. It usually comes in a full circle, but they cut it in half. And she was saying you put all these guys and you make it into a roll. Let's put some papaya in there. Yeah, I think I'm putting too much stuff in here. Oh, I ripped open the... Oh, hold on. Let's get a second wrapping here. Double layer this roll. I'm totally doing it not the right way. And let's dip it in the sauce. Mmm. Mmm. Oh, by the way, this noodle dish is called Bún Thịt Nướng. Cold rice vermicelli noodle dish with grilled pork and herbs. This cost 25,000 Viet Dong. Each of these skewers cost 6,000 Viet Dong. As I was saying, I've been wanting to film a mukbang for the longest time, but the thing is, for me to film a mukbang, I need a place where I can film, you know? And in Bali, my accommodation, here's the thing about Bali, there's a lot of bugs and there's ants everywhere because in Bali, the people, the locals, they give offerings and they put it on the ground in front of their business and their homes, and all the ants come to them. And there's like, I've seen like 6 different kinds of ants in Bali, of, you know, some small ones, some big ones, some really big ones, nasty ones. And I was so scared to eat in my room, and because like when I leave food out, they come within 1 hour and they're there saying peekaboo, I'm here. Actually, I really like this. It was really good. Let's make another one. And then another requirement for making mukbang for me is lighting. You gotta have good lighting, and in the past accommodations I did not have the best lighting. But at this hotel, I have a nice big window for natural lighting to flow in. So this rice paper is dry, but when you put the sauce on there, it gets all moist and kind of like a rubbery. Mmm. And there are toasted peanuts. I noticed in Thailand and Indonesia and Vietnam, there's always that peanut. It's omnipresent. Actually, in America, when I visit my Korean aunt's house, she would have these rice papers, but in full circles, and we would put ingredients in it, and then we'd fold it at the dining table and make it ourselves. Oh, and this is mango. These little yellow slices. And let's put cucumber, and we have fresh bean sprouts. Let's try another one of these. I really like this one. What was it called again? Bún Thịt Nướng. Alright, so this one is a spicy sauce that we could dip it in. Eating around Asia, I've learned that I could handle spicy food. My mouth can handle it, but the other end cannot. And in between, like the stomach too, has a little bit of, needs a little help. When I was in Bali, I had 2 accommodations, and both of which I booked through Airbnb. And the one where I filmed my previous mukbang, that was in Ubud. And after I filmed that mukbang, I was happy I filmed the mukbang, and then the next day I was gonna film another mukbang, right? But guess what happened? That night I did not sleep. Why? I found like, it was either fleas or bed bugs. That place had 2 beds, and one of the beds had these like black, very tiny black bugs, and they would jump, you know? And then the other bed, the main bed, that one had like armies of little red bugs, and if you look from the top they were thin, and on the side they were round. So what I did that night is I cranked up the AC, and I think that helped the bugs to not move as much, and then I didn't sleep. I was like away from the beds, and I was just editing videos all night, trying to be productive using that time, because the rest of the next day I was definitely a zombie, and I just went to get a massage. Actually, massages feel the best when you're delirious and you did not sleep as much. Shall we try the Bánh Xèo sizzling pancake? This one is probably best to eat right after it is off the grill, like right after you cook it. Inside we have shrimp, bean sprouts, and if you open it up like a book, you see all the deets, the details, and then you close it back up, and then you get the crunchiness from the bean sprout and the softness from the meat, and the outside is crunchy as well, but it's like the type of crunchy that's been sitting out, so it's like a crunchy moist, so it's not as satisfying to eat compared to when you have it freshly made right in front of you. What's next? Let's have Bánh Cuốn Nóng, handmade rice noodles filled with pork and ear mushrooms. I'll give you guys a close look. These were made right in front of me. And that tray came with some greens and sauces. The sauce contains carrot and let's pair this with the veggies. And this is what I love about eating Vietnamese. They usually give you a plate of veggies, and it just makes things taste so much more refreshing. Look at that beautiful brown. So I was at Hoi An, and I told you it flooded. If you go to the old town, I heard it goes up to your head. The water is, oh, Mother Nature loves to cry there. Alrighty, we need to try these rolls. Dude, these guys, these little things on here, that's garlic. That really reminds me of these dumplings I had in Thailand before. Well, let's not forget about the sauce. The time has been flying by so fast. I still can't believe I've already traveled for 4 months. You know, it often feels like I've only traveled for 1 month or 2 months. Because it's not like every day I have an adventure. There are days I gotta edit and upload videos. And I wanted to, you know, I always used to upload 2 videos on this channel, and it became such a challenge because sometimes the internet is not very reliable and fast. And I always ask people, like, at the accommodation, like, is your Wi-Fi fast? Is your internet fast? And what's the speed? And they send me the info, and then I get there, like, I'm like, oh, awesome, like, it's pretty fast. And then I get there, and then all of a sudden their internet's not working properly, and I'm like, what the heck? I know, you just have to adapt, because you can't control everything around the world, especially when you travel. There's so many unpredictable things that happen, like the flooding in Hoi An. And you know, like, I think one of the greatest things I learned, one of the biggest things I learned during this trip, I mean, I already know that life is about adaptation, but what you know and what you practice is not always the same. So this trip really tested me to be patient. So let's try another one of these guys, but with the sauce this time. Okay, so let's dip it in the chili sauce. Did I just drip some stuff there? That's definitely spicy. Woo! So I was like, okay, well, I think uploading 3 videos on 2 channels altogether is going to be a challenge as I travel. So I still do 1 video a week for Sweet and Tasty TV, you know, the Korean everything, Korean travel vlogs and stuff. And then for this channel, I cut it down to 1 video a week. And it made me sad because I already had a standard for myself, an expectation for myself, and probably for you guys too, that I make 2 videos a week. And some people are saying, oh, I unsubscribe because you don't upload videos enough. And I think these people don't realize I have another channel, you know. And of course, every creator doesn't want people to leave, but if that happens, well, we can't control it. We just do our best on our part, and that's all we could do really in the end. This one is Dan, meal of rice and side dishes. We have some tofu in here, pork, bean sprouts but cooked, so assorted protein and assorted veggies. And some of you may be wondering if I'm homesick. I miss Mommy O, I miss my family and friends, but I don't get that homesick feeling because, well, it's not my first time I've been away from home for long periods of time. You know, everywhere I go feels like home to me now, especially when there's friendly people around. When I meet locals and even other travelers and we have something in common. Usually we always have something in common, and the common thing is called food. This meat is pretty thin, but wow, it's like beef jerky. It's on the way of becoming a beef jerky. Pretty tough. Let's have some veggies with that. Okay, so I already talked some bits about Bali, but I didn't talk about Vietnam, and we're eating Vietnamese food. You know what? I'm in love with Vietnam. I never realized, I never expected to fall so hard and so passionately in love with Hanoi. I just was not expecting it. And that's what love is. You know, you never know when it's gonna happen. It just strikes, you know? It just happens. I'm gonna miss Hanoi. Well, I already do. I miss it so much. You know, the other week I watched Train to Busan. You know, that's a zombie movie. Actually, some people say the people, they were zombies, they were infected. Anyhow, I'm just gonna call them zombies because they like to eat people and they're just kind of crazy, right? Every time I watch zombie movies, I don't know about you guys, but it really inspires me to work out and hit the gym, but not make too many muscle. I want to work on speed, go on the elliptical, so if I need to run, I could peace out ASAP. At the same time, you don't want a high maintenance body during zombie apocalypse because you're not going to be working out all day. There ain't going to be no protein shakes for you all the time. And forget about being vegan. If there's a zombie apocalypse, I mean, you just eat what is in front of you. It doesn't matter if you eat like a big cake and you get pimples. At that point, you're just trying to eat to live. Okay, these pieces of pork, of course, like one layer is fatty and the other layer is meat. And if the meat is a little dry, the fat portion will mix it together when you're biting into it and you chew, and then it balances out the texture. Oh, are these bamboo shoots I see? The veggies in that one remind me of some veggie dishes I've had in Chinese restaurants. And the thing is, sometimes we give credit to a certain culture just because we tried something of that culture first. Maybe something originated from Vietnam, for example, but if I experienced that dish in Chinese culture, then I think, oh, that's a Chinese dish. But the original might be from Vietnam. What have we not tried yet? The soup. Every country I go to, I fall at least once. I fell in Korea in a cave. I fell in Bangkok twice on a rainy day. And then I fell in Jakarta in Indonesia as well on a rainy day. And I fell in Bali in a restaurant because there's like a marble like floor, and then it was wet on a rainy day. Most of the time I fall in something wet, you know, it's a rainy day. And guess what, I also fell in Hanoi in Vietnam the other day. So fun times. Oh my gosh, something got stuck in my tooth. Is that a bone? So because I've been falling in every country I go to, I look at the ground now so much, and by looking at the ground, I've become so aware of the infrastructure of each city. Now, when I was in America, what's this sauce about? Let's open it and find out. Let's put it right here so it doesn't spill onto the bed. Let's get a spoonful. That's like a soup. Yeah, it's a very mild flavor. And we have some veggies in there. Nice. Oh my gosh, you know what I just realized? Oi cho oi! That means oh my god in Vietnamese. I forgot about this. This is called nem nuong barbecue pork meatballs. Everywhere you go around the world, everybody got meatballs and barbecue. It has the texture of a fish cake, just like this guy. Actually, this texture is much more smoother. This one is only slightly more tough, and this one is definitely more flavorful, which makes you want to eat it with more veggies. This mango is not super ripe, so it is not super sweet. Quite firm. And because that mango is not ripe and not sweet, it actually tastes better with this food. Because if it's sweet, I'll be like, Am I eating dessert right now, or am I eating food? So I was talking about America. In America, the sidewalks, they are so straight, and I don't really need to focus on looking at the sidewalk when I walk. Every country I go to, I notice the streets are a little different. Like in Bali, they have the sidewalks where it's like they put like big, I don't know the technical terms for these, but they put big like bricks and they just lay it on. So when the bricks break in half, they fall in, so it creates a hole. So when you walk at night, well, you don't want to walk at night and be drunk, because you're gonna trip, you're gonna fall into the hole. Oh, it got moist. It absorbed the water in this room. Danang is a little bit more humid compared to Hanoi. Hanoi was actually pretty cool. All the locals were wearing long sleeves while I was wearing like this. Yes, it came apart. Ta-da! Okay, where was I before the battery died on me? Oh yeah, sidewalks. And the sidewalks in Bangkok, the brick is like kind of up and down. So when it rains, you get these little puddles here and there. But there typically is a way around them. In some countries, the sidewalks just disappear and you have to walk into the road. And actually in Hanoi, the motorcycles, they park on the sidewalks, so the pedestrians, we have to walk around the motorbikes into the vehicular street where the cars pass by. You guys, I think this is a piece of bug leg. You know what, whatever, it's protein. After I went to Bali, my tolerance for bugs has skyrocketed. I saw so many big bugs there, big spiders. Yeah, the spiders in California are nothing compared to the huge spiders in Bali. Let's make another roll. Yeah, so it's interesting to not just try different kinds of food in various countries, but also to look at the infrastructure, to study the buildings, of course to learn about the history. And you can't learn everything, you know, you can't learn everything in one visit. I mean, even if you stay one place for many years, you're not going to know everything about that city or country. Come on, like, I lived in LA for 7 years, and it's a constantly changing city. There's so much going on there. So, you know, after 1 year of being away, stepping away from Los Angeles, your information is already outdated. You can't be sad about it. It's just the nature of some cities, fast-paced cities, you know? Part of the life of living in fast-paced cities is knowing where to eat, where the hot restaurants are, and what is considered hot is always changing. My favorite thing, these skewers are really good. I love wrapping the food in these rice paper. We still need to try the soup. I just don't want to open that bag and have it spill over the place, so I kind of want to save that for the last. Oh, one of the things I want to talk to you guys about is how when you travel, you represent your country. And specifically, you oftentimes represent the country that you look like. And when I was in Bali, a lot of people thought I'm Japanese. I mentioned this in the previous mukbang. And when I go to Jakarta, more people guessed correctly that I'm biologically Korean. But they still would ask me if I'm from Korea, but I'm from America. I mean, you can't get mad about people not guessing correctly where you're from, because even in America, people are like, oh my god, your English is so good. You're from Korea, right? And I'm like, bro, I'm born and raised in America. Mine might be even more American than yours. Oh, I really can't peel this. Feels like that moment when you're trying to take a sticker off the paper, but it just won't come off. Like you're trying to pull it apart. Maybe this side will be easier. Or like when you're trying to find the end of the tape and you have a hard time pulling it. Here we go. Okay, but this is a double layer. There's another layer in this, but it's okay. We've done double layer before. Let us put some of this pork. Actually, more than the noodles, I just want to put veggies in this because we still have a lot of greens here for us. When I first began my trip, Asia trip, I was a little afraid of eating street food. I had been warned of food poisoning, but I think my stomach has gotten used to the street food, and yeah, everything is about adapting. Just let that soak in there, baby. It felt like the chopstick wood got in my lip. I'm definitely getting more full now. Yeah, so like, as I was mentioning before, many times people will judge you according to what you look like. So, for example, if at a restaurant I was being super rude or super loud, then they'll think, oh, Korean, they're so obnoxious at restaurants, right? But I am not just Korean, I'm Korean American. And you know, to make a generalization like that, it's not fair to other Koreans and other Americans, other Korean Americans, because not every one of us is like that. Okay, with that said, interestingly, there are some stereotypes that have some truth to it. I say this carefully because sometimes when we make stereotypes, it could seem racist. But, however, every culture has their common tendencies. So when we say, oh, like this group of people tends to be like that, for better or for worse, maybe it's a good thing or a bad thing, right? So there are times when there is truth to that generalization, but it's not 100% true. It's like maybe 50% true or like 80% true. It's a statistic. So if a certain culture, they burp often in a restaurant, and then we see the foreigners see that and we'll be like, that's so rude. That group of race is so rude. But if you think about it, it's just part of what they do in their culture, you know? So to them, it's just normal. However, people in that culture, some of them still might think that's rude. They're like, oh, why do our people do that, you know? I don't want to name names. I don't want to be too specific with examples, because even if I try to be as objective, people's gonna be offended, you know? And that's not my point here. And part of me is sad that more than half my trip is over already. But the other part is happy. Because as much as I don't want to leave Asia, Vietnam, there are things to look forward to. You know, when I go back to the States, that's when I get to see my mama and my family and friends. And that boom. And there's a saying, don't be sad that it's over, be glad that it happened. So true. So true. When I was a kid, I didn't care much about the sun. I loved getting tan when I was young, actually. I would go swimming and I wanted to burn all my pimples off, you know? I got so excited every summer. And then when I got to my college years and my early adulthood, early 20s, I tried to avoid the sun. Wow, this is hard to open. I tried to avoid the sun. I wanted to be young. I didn't want wrinkles, you know? But nowadays, I'm like, vitamin D, come to me, you know? I'm embracing it. I'm not like purposefully trying to get tan, but it's like if I get tan, I get tan. If I don't, I don't. You know, so it's interesting. With age, you change. Like when you're young, when I was young, I wanted to get tan, and then there's a time I was trying to avoid getting tan, and now I'm like, whatevs. Ding. Let's put some banana, some bean sprouts, some lettuce, and cucumbers, the cukes. Fold it. Wow, this is gonna be abstract shape. Wow. Dip. When I go back to America, I think like when I spend my money, I'll be like, oh, this is so expensive, because you know, in Bangkok, Vietnam, you could get a good amount of food for less than $5. Back in my hometown, they asked me to go party with them. Probably gonna be like, no. And cocktails are like $20, $25, $30 each. I'm like, that goes a long way in Asia. I'd rather save up my money and come back to Asia. Yeah, because in Jakarta, I found cocktails for less than $10 that are legit as the ones I found in LA. Like one of those hipster bars, you know? They put like bacon on your cocktail. Oh, we have more pieces of meat here. Wonderful. One of the big takeaways from this trip is just because someone does something doesn't make them a good or bad person. So just because you do yoga or are spiritual doesn't make you a good person. Just because you smoke cigarettes or you do drugs doesn't make you a bad person automatically. So although sometimes you want to take these habits as a sign of a person's character, it's not always equivalent, you know? So your habits can help you make good hygiene and it builds character, but they're not always your character. I'm getting quite full now. I'm gonna try this soup. Okay, this soup, what is it called? Bánh Cuốn? Soup with fish cake. They gave me some choices. They're like, do you want it with, what do you want it with? And I said, I want it with fish cake. You know, close look at the soup. It's fish cake. And it looks like either coriander or cilantro. Oh, that fish cake is actually quite chewy. This one cost 20,000 Viet Dong, in case you're curious. It has a mild spiciness to it, and you get these little pieces of scallions in there, little bits. You know, flavor wise though, it's not like too strong. The main flavor here is all about the fish cake, and I do love the these jelly noodles. You know, I just want to call it jelly noodles. Usually noodles tend to be longer, but these are cut fairly short. So what is the texture of these jelly noodles like? You know, boba? Imagine having long pieces of boba in your mouth. It's like that. Whew, I am full. I'm full. Well, I definitely don't need dinner tonight. Woo! Alright, you guys. I'm gonna say my favorite thing I ate here today was the sticks, the nem nung barbecue pork meatballs that came on these sticks. I loved wrapping it with rice paper and dipping it into that sauce. That's my favorite thing. And I also like putting these noodles into the roll. And to be honest, everything here was good in its own way. I hope you enjoyed trying this Vietnamese street food with me, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram for delicious selfies at Miss Mina O. Also check out my Snapchat. Bye bye.